Hello, pal.
We are live, pal. Indeed, we are. Holy shit. Welcome to Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops with me, JB, the best Chris in all of wrestling podcasts, Mr. Chris Dredd, and we are live with James from That's Wrestling, formerly of Cafe De Rene. James, how the fuck are you, man?
Pretty good. Like I am enjoying sleep at the minute.
Yeah,
I went to sleep at 10:30 last night. I cannot remember the last time I went to sleep at 10:30, and I woke up at 7 this morning, and I felt fucking lovely.
Fresh.
All
Nice.
fresh. Not waking up tired and be like, oh, I've got to do my school. And I woke up and I was like, man, I feel so good.
Nice.
that is good to hear, man. Yeah, as long as you're getting some kip and
Yeah.
resting and taking some time for yourself, that is amazing. Especially on today of all days, World Mental Health Day. So shout out to everyone and anyone who's taking part and doing whatever they're doing on a day like this. We hope you all have the best, happy mental health and stick with it. So.
And we always say as well that our DMs are always open, man. We've said this from the get-go. We've always had like an open backdoor policy. You know what I mean? So if you want to slide in the DMs in the back door and just have a chat, if you're feeling however you're feeling, just first double entendre of the night, mate. It's only been 2 minutes, 1 minute.
Less than 2 minutes, yeah, about 90
right.
seconds. So
always feel free to slide in and have a chat with us. We're always in and around the interwebs.
Awesome.
So yeah, James, what's going on, man? Like, apart from sleep, what's new? We know what's new, but you've got a story to tell. Obviously, you've got a podcast to tell it on for yourself. So you're going to have your own sort of bits and pieces that you're not going to share with us right now. But give us the gist, man.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for having me. I'm not going to lie, lads. Obviously, when I announced I was leaving Cafe De Rene, quite a few people reached out to me, wanted me to come on the show. I guess spill the gossip and stuff like that. And I said no to quite a few people, but you messaged me just to see how I was more than anything, which I appreciate. And obviously, we've all known each other for quite a while now. Before I even done Cafe De Rene, so when you invited me, I'll be like, yeah, man, I'd love to come on you guys' show because I enjoy speaking to you. It's not just about wrestling, but like football and just real life stuff. So yeah, Cafe De Rene, the reason that's why I left. So for people who's not aware, myself and former WWE wrestler Rene Dupree done a podcast called Cafe De Rene. We did it for about 3 years. I thought we done well. Time I left, we was at like 28,000 subs and 11 million views, I believe. So we done decent, and we had some great guests on the show. Some great returning friends of the show, such as Paul London, Jason Sensation, and Jonah from Rewind, Recap, Relive, who helps out. And it was going good. And so I forgot how long ago it's been now since I've left. I was trying to work it out in my head. I was like, has it been a week? Has it been a couple of weeks? It's just like it's gone by so quick. So, and if I'm dragging me story, please tell me, because sometimes I go on a tangent. I don't know when to stop.
You have tangent. No, man, we love a tangent on this show. We might as well have been called like Tangent Chat and Greek Pops, Cheap Pops, mate. We literally like go off on one all the time. It's your floor, mate.
The Tangent Wrestling Podcast. That's a great name. if that's wrestling's already copyrighted, then I reckon that could be the next name for it, Tangent Wrestling. So yeah. So basically, I forgot what day it was now. I think it might have been last Monday. It's a blur, to be honest. Me and Renee was having a conversation, and Renee was having a bad day. I was having a bit of a bad day. Some things were said, and before I do start, everyone, I am not going to bury Renee. I still care for Renee, and when you've been talking to someone basically every day for 3 years, you can't help but care for that person. And for the past 3 years, he's been a big part of my life, especially with the podcast and just as a friend in general. So I'm not going to bury Renee or anyone else part of the show. But it's kind of been coming now that I look back on it in hindsight, it's kind of been coming for the past 6 months. There's been some disagreements with the way the channel's being ran. Now, initially, I was the co-host, the producer, and the editor. Now, people who used to watch thought I was just a guy who used to just read the super chats. I wish that was all I'd done, to be honest. It would have made my life much easier. I done a lot more stuff than that, and Renee appreciated that. So Renee's from the wrestling world, and he's a wrestler, so he's got all the wrestling stories and stuff. I'm not saying I'm an expert YouTuber by any means, but I kind of know how YouTube kind of works, and I know what the fans want to watch and what they want to listen to. As time went by, the direction of the channel changed, and I was kind of losing control of what was happening. And there would be times I would say, for example, there was one point a few months ago where the numbers were in the shitter, and they was. And beginning of the year, we was doing unbelievable numbers, especially when all the Vince stuff started coming out. I mean, in 1 month, I think we done like between 1 and 2 million views, like in 1 month, which was stupidly good. But over the summer, the numbers dropped a bit, which they always drop and they always go up and down. But I basically said, I think we should kind of go back to basics. Just have me, you, and a guest, and even do one live stream a week. And it gives me time to have a rest, and also we'll do the live stream say on a Monday, and then like through the week I can just make clips. Like I said, I'm not bearing Renee, but Renee enjoys having loads of people on the show at one time. And he was kind of like, the more the merrier. And I'm like, yeah, it works in certain situations, but not all the time, because that was the other part of doing the show. When people was talking, I was listening. Now, I know we're all listening, but I'm listening for what's going to be a clip. And when you've been doing it for a while, and you guys know what I'm talking about, like when you have a guest on or, wrestler, you kind of pick up, oh, that could be a good clip. Let me make a note of that. So I was doing things like that. But when there was loads of people on, it was kind of hard to do that. And you didn't know if the story was finished or if it was carrying on with someone else. So things like that, I was getting a little bit frustrated with. So we went back to basics for a couple of weeks. We had Loki on the show. Guy takes himself serious, but he's a great interview. And I enjoyed him being on the show. And we had them on, and we was doing the clips. Numbers were going back up, like going back to basics. Numbers were going back up. We said we'll try it for a month. For 2 weeks, it was doing really well. And then after them 2 weeks, things changed. And I'm like, man, you couldn't give me a month. You had to change it back again. And I'm like, man, the numbers are going back up, and they was. The one thing I will squash straight away. Some people says I left because of money. Nothing could be further from the truth. I've got my channel. I haven't even monetized it because I can't be bothered. It's got nothing to do with money at all. So I will make that abundantly clear. To me, it was about the pop.
I was going to say, Matt, just to chip in, it's pretty hard to monetize a YouTube channel and to make decent money off it anyway. Like I say, I mean, you were doing good numbers and that, but it was going up and down. But the people that make the real money on YouTube and that are really fucking hitting tremendous numbers. So I agree, that rings true. The fact that it's not about money. We don't do it for the money. I'm sure you don't do it for the money. We do it because we love to do it, and you was enjoying what you're doing it. But when, like you say, when it gets to the point where you're not enjoying it, that's what really makes the difference, right?
Yeah, and like I said, don't get me wrong, we did make some money, and to me, it was always a great bonus. Like, and we've all got our real 9 to 5s, so that's me bread and butter, literally. So, but to me, the podcast, it was something I enjoyed doing, and the money what we made from it, it was a bonus. It was literally a bonus, and so that was that. So that's the one thing I do want to squash like straight away. So anyway, it's been building up. Me and Renee, we've had disagreements over the years, and I think that's a good thing. Because I think if you got, I would imagine you and Chris and JB, both of you, I would imagine you have disagreements when it comes to the channel at times, maybe all the time. You don't want to have a yes man who agrees to everything you say. Now, I'm not saying that's what Renee wanted or likes, but Perhaps he does. Perhaps that's what people prefer. But me, I can be hard-headed and stubborn. It might not be a good thing, might be a terrible thing, but that's just the way I am. So I would push back on some stuff. If there was certain guests, I'd be like, I don't think I want that person on the show. And they'd be like, why? And I'm like, because it's the drizzle and shits. I don't think it's going to do any good for the show. So it'd be stuff like that. So anyway, so it was kind of building up. And so we had that day and we had a few disagreements. He said some nasty things. I said some nasty things. We both regret the things we said. And it got to a point I was thinking, I don't think I can carry on doing the show now. And I thought about it. It wasn't easy to get to leave. It was not easy. I mean, we literally, the two of us, we built it up from nothing, like from zero, literally. And we got it to where we were, where it is, I suppose. And I was like, and I was kind of burnt out as well. So for American fans, or North American fans, or people across the world, people make comments saying, "Oh, James looks like he's on something." I'm like, no, it's like 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm doing a live stream. I'm fucking tired. I was doing it 2 or 3 times a week. Like, we'll be doing a live stream 11 p.m. our UK time. I'll be finishing at like 1 a.m. The only problem is when you've been staring at a screen for like say 2 or 3 hours, it's still burned into yeah.
You got to relax after that.
So when you're finishing the podcast at 1 a.m., you're not going to sleep at 1 a.m. Your eyes are still trying to adjust and your brain's trying to adjust. So you're not going to sleep till about 2 a.m. or 2:30. So I'm doing that twice a week. We're doing the Patreon as well. So I'm doing that late at night. I'm editing, I'm making clips and doing all this stuff. I'm promoting on social media. I'm trying to book guests at the same time and stuff, which Renee booked guests as well, but like I'm trying to book guests as well. And it got to a point like, fuck, I don't think I can do it anymore. And it was like 3 years.
And you have a job, and you have a family, and you like to sleep. You know what I mean? Like it's tough, dude.
I like watching TV. I love watching movies. I'm playing video games. I don't know. I forgot what I said. At first, it was kind of his decision, but it was more kind of a mutual decision. And then I was like, I'm done. And I don't know if it took him back, but I was like, I think I'm done. So I typed a statement up and I posted it on social media. It took a lot of people by surprise. And it was shocking. I told my kids, and my kids was like, "What?" So Renee was like the biggest heel to them for a few days. But so anyway, we didn't speak. Me and Renee didn't speak for the rest of that day, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm done." A few wrestlers reached out to me. One of them a really, really close friend. We spoke for like an hour. And he was like, "It's fine, James. You're gonna be fine." Stuff like that. Carry on doing what you do. Carry on doing podcasts. And I'm like, I don't know. I said, I think I'm gonna have a break. I said, I'm not gonna rush into anything. I'm not gonna go out and bury people because it's not in my nature to bury people. And I didn't want to. Like I said, I do care for Renee still. So I spoke to him. A few wrestlers reached out to me. A few wrestlers straight away reached out to me and was like, do you want to collaborate on like this project? And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to do any wrestling podcasts as a co-host with a wrestler now. I think I'm going to take some time off, and if I do something, I'll probably do one-on-one interviews again, which is something I have missed, to be honest. So anyway, next day's come along. Me and Renee started talking, and he apologized. I apologized, and we spoke about possibility going back. And in the end, I was like, I think I'm done. I'm going to take a long break. It's like never say never. Maybe in the future, I don't know, but I think I'm done. I think we both need a break now. Perhaps if you want to change the format and go with different co-hosts, go that way. I'm not going to rush into anything. I'm just going to take some time off and do that. And then we have spoken on the phone, like we've had a nice conversation, and we definitely put things under the bridge. Basically, we're all good. Me and Renee's all good. I've said to him, I said, Renee, I said, you're a big part of my life. I said, I still care about you. I said, I don't want the channel to fail. I said, I want to succeed. I said, because I built it. Well, we built it. And I walked out with my head held high. I was like, I haven't buried anyone. It's like some people, what I've just said for this past 10 minutes might think I've buried them, but I don't think I have. I think I've been fair. So I want them to do well. Dan is now part of the team. I think Dan's a great guy. Before I left, I was messaging Dan on Facebook, giving him and Renee, because Renee's kind of doing like a video format thing now. And I messaged Dan with like ideas on what videos to make. So like Dan, I welcomed with open arms. Jonah still helps him, and like I was on the phone to Jonah today. So I wish nothing but the best for him. So that I guess that was the end of that. And then the past week or so, people's messaged me saying, are you still going to be podcasting? Even wrestlers has reached out to me and said, are you still going to be doing podcasts? I said, I will, but I said, I'm just taking some time off. And like I said, lads, these last week and a half, however long it's been, I've been getting the best sleep I've had for a long time.
Yeah, man, that is, I mean, if you feel like you're burning out, then yeah, there's nothing worse than just just like literally staying on the same track. It can't be healthy. Like, and something I wanted to ask you about, the show with Rene was, did it feel like one sort of, the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing sometimes, like especially when you were like, you said yourself, like sometimes Rene was trying to do things and you were trying to do things and it didn't quite meet up.
Yeah, sometimes I would come on a show and all of a sudden there'll be people there who I didn't expect to be on, and I'd be like, for fuck's sake. So there was stuff like that.
Just like wrestlers, or just like friends of his, or just other co-hosts, or
like certain wrestlers. And I'd be like, because it'd be like, all right, we've got a guest lined up. I'm like, oh, cool. All right, me, you, and the guest. So it'll be like me, him, and the guest, but I'll come on and like someone else. I'm not going to mention by names because I don't want to bury anyone, but someone else will be there and be like, fuck's sake, Renee, I thought it was just going to be us just having the guest on them, just. And when you've got the one guest on who's very, very charismatic, and then there'll be another guest on who's got a monotone sound voice, I'm like, that's chalk and cheese. So things like that, it was like he wouldn't tell me some of the things he didn't really tell me ahead of time. Whereas if I was reaching out to guests or trying to get guests on, I would let them know before and I'd be like, are you cool with this guy or with this lady? I was going to reach out, and if he wasn't cool with the person, I'd be like, okay, I won't bother. If he was cool with the person, I'd be like, oh, cool, I'll reach out, try and get the guy or girl on the show. So it'd be things like that. So yeah, that did happen a few times. I've made my feelings known to Renee, and he was like, okay, next time, I'll tell you. I was like, okay, no problem. We're cool. Because that was the thing. Like I said, we've done the show for 3 years, but I think the Loki episode was our 3-year anniversary. So when I left, it was literally a month after 3 years, basically. So 37 months. Fuck, it's a long time.
It's a long time, bro, to be putting that energy in as well. Because I mean, like what you're saying about when you've got a guest on. I mean, I think 3 is the magic number. I think it works well if you've got, like you say, yourself, Renee, and a guest. Like we usually have, Jordan, myself, and a guest on, and it seems to work quite well because, when you've got 2 people, that can still work well. But with that extra third person, it's sometimes nice because then can pull something else out that the other person might not. You know what I mean? It does work well. But I think when you're getting into sort of like 4 and 5 people on the show, it can be really hard to sort of get like a nice path for the interview and where it's going, because too many tangents and too many sort of, it sort of dilutes it a little bit, maybe. And it is hard. I mean, 3 we feel is the magic number, obviously, because it's, me, JB, and whoever we have on here, and you generally it's 3 people. But yeah, no, it's, and even having even doing interviews is tough generally to sort of, talk to people, let them talk, just having the right amount of sort of interjections, but letting people feel comfortable enough that they can sort of, we've had people on here for like 45 minutes to an hour, but we've had other people on for like 3 hours and 3.5 hours and that, because they just feel like, comfortable enough, and they just keep reeling off these stories, and we're like chipping in, and they're like bang, bang, bang. So it's really hard to sort of pace it. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, ain't it? And it's one of those things where you've got your own rhythm about things, and then when things get chucked into the mix, sometimes it can throw you off a bit.
Yeah, and I mean, you're 100% right, and because one of the initial premises to the show when we started having guests on, Renee was the wrestler, so we would talk to the other wrestler, because the wrestlers, they're boys, or the boys and girls, and
yeah.
He would, and it was a great dynamic. I'm not gonna lie, it was a great dynamic, because he would speak to him like just having a conversation, like how we're having a conversation now. That's how he would speak to the wrestlers. It was just 2 guys, or a guy and a girl, just having a conversation.
Shared experiences.
Yeah,
yeah.
And the reason I was there, I was asking the questions from the fans' perspective, what a fan would like to hear.
Yeah.
And it worked well. But then, and I'm not burying Jonah, because I love Jonah, but there'll be times we'll have a guest on, and it'll be like me and Jonah on. And like I said, I like Jonah. I spoke to Jonah today. I like Jonah, but I'm not just saying, there'll be times where you'd be like, okay, it'd be me, you, Jonah, and the guest. And I would say, I'm like, it doesn't really work, it doesn't really work, Renee, when there's 2 co-hosts, because me and Jonah's basically fulfilling the same spot. So there was times I would actually not do shows. I would sacrifice myself for the sake of the show. For example, one time Chris Van Fleet was coming on, and there's been other times, and there was times where it was guests who I wanted to speak to. But I never had it in my heart to say, okay, Jonah, you're not doing the show tonight because I want to do the show tonight. I never had that in me. I guess I should be a little bit more ruthless. But there was times I'm like, okay, I know it's not going to work if it's like all of us on the show. So I would be like, okay, I'll let you do it, and I'll have the night off and stuff. And
you're too nice. You're too nice, mate. You're like the Shane
Yeah.
McMahon of the McMahon family. You know what I mean? You're like,
Well, I'm sure Shane's got some skeletons that's going to come out one day. I hope not, but I'm sure there is.
They always say like he's the nice one, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They always say like he's too nice for the business. And if you want to look at it from the point of view of you and Rene started the channel, and to be fair, if you had a guest on, when you have a guest on like Chris Van Fleet, a pretty big guest, like you would be well within your rights to say, look, like, I think maybe we should just do it just us 3, because it might just streamline it a little bit, like, obviously we know you, and we know you wouldn't be like, nah, bollocks, mate, you ain't fucking doing it, I'm doing this one. You wouldn't put it like that. You would obviously be nice about it, but I think you'd be well within your rights to say, look, man, do you mind if we just sort of, I think that wouldn't be ruthless. That would be sort of like, better for the show, but also
I would be justified in making that decision because I essentially created the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was times where I felt like, no, I know Renee appreciates what I've done for the show now, definitely, and because he's in the UK now, and he realizes the sacrifices I made staying up at all hours doing the podcast now, and he's only been doing it for a month in the UK. And I've been doing it for free.
Does he live here now, James?
He's over here wrestling.
Yeah, he's like doing a tour or whatever, and doing like
like
what do they call them? These seminars and stuff.
Yeah, he's doing them, and he's wrestling. So he's doing like a European tour.
Yeah.
So he's been over here for about a month now, and he's finding it hard now to stay up and do the shows, and he's dog tired in the morning. and he's been doing it for a month, and I've been doing it for over 3 years. So now he realizes, is like, fuck, I didn't realize, James. But before he moved over, I don't, and I don't blame him, because when he was doing the show, it was like 7 p.m. and I don't think he really grasped how much I sacrificed a lot of time. Simple as that. I don't think he realized how much I sacrificed to do the show, and like, not just physical time, but fucking mental well-being as well. Like, staying up to 2 a.m., 3 a.m. every night, it's not healthy.
It's hard, bro. Yeah.
No, it's
hard.
not healthy in the slightest. No. Not
And
when
like
you've
I
got
said,
a day job. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm
kids.
like, well, kids, I'm a fucking builder. I've got quite a physical job.
Yeah.
So, I need my wits about me, like, during the day. So yeah, so he realizes now, but I don't think he actually realized. And like I said, it's not me burying Renee. I just think Renee just didn't understand, like, what I actually was doing for the channel. And at least put me over since. And he has. And I appreciate that. But I think it takes something like this, and like living through the experience, to realize, yeah, now I know what he done. And I don't know if he regrets it, me going. I have got an open door to return. Never say never, like, but at for the time being, I'm okay where I'm at, because I feel mentally, I feel a lot better. Like, getting sleep is so important now. I didn't realize it, but it's so important.
It's it's sometimes the smallest sort of like life change, or even a bigger one, can really have a better effect on your mental well-being and stuff like that. And it's it's something that's happened to me in the past few months. Changing the scene, changing the job, changing the workplace and stuff. It's like it's been a bit of a breath of fresh air for me. And it's like Chris with his work and moving things around and stuff, and holy shit, we came to see him in a in a random pop-up and stuff like that. He's making waves. It's like
a change is as good as a holiday, they say, right?
Can be.
True.
It can be. Not as good as a holiday sometimes. A holiday is the
It can be.
Thing.
Depends if you go to Bognor Regis, isn't it, or if you're going to Mexico or
Skeggy.
I just want to highlight a couple of comments here. Outside of the hellos, which I have shown on screen, City of Roses 79 says that they think you've been fair, James, and you haven't said anything negative thus far about Renee, which is fair enough. Although Dan Kind P has put being the nicest man is like being the nicest guy in prison. I don't know.
You never know.
It's a funny comment, yeah.
There might be a couple of McMahons in prison by the end of the fucking year. We never know.
McMahon and a Laurinaitis, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Fucking yeah, mate.
Something I wanted to ask you, James, because this isn't all about what's going on with Cafe De Rene and stuff like that. I wanted to ask you about this rating shit from last night. It's something that popped up, and I thought, let's see what James has got to say about this, because Dynamite came in with a whopping 329k on a Tuesday night. They called it Title Tuesday. It's the lead-in, like, of their biggest show to a pay-per-view this weekend, and they have done absolute shit. What do you think, mate?
So I was actually speaking to someone today who's actually in good contact with people in AEW, and he said to me, "He's like, is this for real?" I'm like, "Yeah, apparently so." And like, he was telling me like how things are over there, like backstage and shit. And I'm like,
chaos, isn't it? It's got to be just chaos.
Yeah. I'm not going to mention the person's name. He's told me strictly out of confidence, but it's like it's fanatic over there behind the scenes. But anyway, I mean, I guess it was a Tuesday. I guess fans ain't used to watching them on a Tuesday, I suppose. But still, what was the like? I never watched it. I don't know, for like a lot of people didn't watch it this week. What was the what was like the main matches on the card, or like the main storylines?
One of the biggest complaints is that there was too much talking on the show.
Right.
The other complaint, The other complaint, I guess, was that it was in the wrong time slot. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like,
you know what it is, right? They're trying to say that, oh yeah, their fans aren't used to watching it on a Tuesday or whatever, or they didn't know it was on the Tuesday. It's like, that's horseshit. Like the AEW, like strict fucking AEW fan base, they live online. There's no way they didn't know that it was on the Tuesday. There's no way.
Yeah.
Like everybody knew it was on the Tuesday, right? You've got Tony Khan tweeting fucking Tuesday, and all that, and they live on fucking Twitter and X and that, bro. They knew. But when you've got something that no one cares about and no stories, like you look at NXT, and NXT at the moment has got the stories. They've got things going on. You know, they've got people on the show that are fresh and new. They're like Julia on there. You know, they've got things popping. You know, so people care about some stuff, and they clearly don't care about AEW or what they were offering on that Tuesday.
Yeah, it's
You know,
because I mean, you see the same names like the biggest AEW defenders. I always say you can tell the truth that things ain't working out. Doesn't make you any less of a fan. It's like we're all football fans. If I think Liverpool's playing shit, I will say they're playing shit. Doesn't make me any less of a fan. I still love Liverpool. I've loved Liverpool since I've been 3 years old. It's okay to, you know, what's the word I'm using for? Not praise, but you know, what word I'm looking for?
constructive criticism.
Yeah, criticize them.
Yeah.
It's okay to criticize them. Doesn't mean you're going to be less of a fan. You can't pretend everything is perfect. And I saw some comments saying, well, NXT, they brought some of, you know, the main roster stars like Orton and Jade Cargill, for example. So a response to that would be, so are you saying the talent in AEW is only equivalent to the WWE developmental talent, but they can't go up against main roster stars? Is that what you're saying? Because
exactly,
that's what they're saying.
That's exactly what they're saying. They're saying that, you know, that the stars that they brought in from their main show, which Dynamite is the main show, overshadowed completely the stars that they had on AEW's main show, which is, you know, it's nuts when you look at it like that, really, right? It's like, fuck, man, you're saying that your top guys don't even, and to be fair, it wasn't even the top guys that were coming into NXT, really. I mean, Orton,
that was pretty much it.
Yeah, you know, and you had
last week it was
CM Punk,
the week before it was Punk, wasn't it?
Yeah, Punk being the referee, you know. It's crazy, man. Like, you know, the excuses are coming thick and fast at the moment.
Yeah. And the thing is, and this is the thing now, like, we're not burying AEW. We're just pointing out the facts. People be like, "Oh, you're burying AEW. You don't want them to succeed." Was it E-drones or Fedophiles?
E-drones.
Fed bad.
Fed lovers.
Love it. Brilliant.
Growing up in the 90s, I never had much access to WWE besides from videos. I never had Sky Sports. We had Sky, but I never had Sky Sports. So I believe WCW used to actually come on Fridays in the UK after Cartoon Network. I believe it was on Fridays, not Mondays.
It was on TNT. Yeah,
that's right. Cartoon Network would finish at like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, and then it'll turn to TNT.
Yeah.
So I loved WCW in the 90s. I used to watch it every week. Sting in the NWO. Loved Rey Mysterio when he first jumped onto the scene. I was a massive WCW fan. I still love WWF. I never had access to them, but I still wanted to try, and if there was any opportunity to watch them, I would.
Get the videos and shit like that when they come out. Yeah.
Video games and all that.
Yeah.
Magazines back in the day.
Yeah,
I can't remember last time I read a magazine.
What, like these little bad boys that we've got here?
What's he doing? What's he
doing?
You know,
like the WWF spotlight that we've got there with little Elizabeth on there.
There we go.
You know what I mean? That was the shit, dude. Getting the lady. WWF magazine back in the day. Oh, beautiful.
But so never did I ever want WCW or even ECW, which I didn't really watch because I never had access to ECW. Never wanted them go out of business. I mean, could you imagine the world today if we had WWE, WCW, and ECW still about? It'd be awesome.
Oh yeah.
So I don't want AEW to go out of business. So when they got the TV deal, I was over the moon for them. I was like, okay, it's more money for the boys and girls who literally puts their bodies on the line for our enjoyment. I don't get me wrong, the fans. When I say the fans, not it's hard to say they've got casual fans because they haven't. They're hardcore fans. It's hard to celebrate the success that AEW has because the fans are just such a turn off.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. I'm not saying WWE fans are perfect because you got the same type in the WWE fan base.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? I haven't watched an AEW show for a long time because my interest in AEW is at an all-time low. I'm looking forward to when Kenny Omega comes back because I've missed watching Kenny Omega. As much as I like Will Ospreay's not a draw. He can have a million.
I swear you said
5-star
on
matches.
Twitter the other day, if Kenny Omega comes back, I'm watching Dynamite tonight or something like that.
Yeah, and I meant it because I like Omega. His theme song, if his theme song Battle Cry does not get you hyped, then I don't know what to say. But as much as I like Ospreay, he's not a draw. He can have 57 million 7-star matches, but to me, he's not a draw, and I like Ospreay. And that company doesn't have a premier guy, doesn't have a Cena, doesn't have a Stone Cold or Roman Reigns, or even a Cody now, you could say. They haven't got that type of guy.
They got John Moxley, mate. They got John Moxley. What are you
I miss
talking
Dean
about?
Ambrose.
Yes.
But they haven't got a man or a woman.
Hang on.
Oh yeah. But it's like they signed Ricochet. Okay. Ricochet can do that shit in the ring. He can't cut a promo at all. And I'm not just saying that because he's
on Twitter though, can't he?
He's acting like a Ricochet at the moment, though, isn't he? Like he's honestly like he seems so sort of bitter at the minute, and he was just like shitting all over WWE on Jericho's podcast at every opportunity, and it was like it's a bit sad. It's like come on, man, like you don't want to burn your bridges
He's
too
like a jilted ex-lover, isn't he?
Yeah, you might want to fucking go back there, man. Like your missus is there, like. Come on, man! Don't shit on your fucking former employers yet.
But he can't cut a promo, and he was the same in WWE. Couldn't cut a promo. But the difference was with him in WWE. He could do the acrobats, I guess you could say, and do all the flips, and not many other wrestlers would do them. Seth Rollins could do them, but he doesn't have to. But he's gone to AEW, and people's like, it's going to suit him better. And I'm like, I guess so, but everyone else does the same shit he does. And there was the big highlight spot, that spot him and Ospreay does. And I'm like, yeah, they done it about 8 years ago in Dragon Gate or wherever it was. But it looks worse than it did 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's a bit slower and a bit more deliberate this time, weren't it?
It's slower, yeah. The odd little trip and slip, yeah. It's just it don't work anymore.
So, and they brought MVP in, which I like MVP. He's a great promo. So I'm like, okay. And if they put like Shelton Benjamin's come in, but that's nothing. I love Shelton Benjamin. I love MVP. If they bring in Lashley, great group. WWE underutilized the Hurt Business as a group. I understand they put the belt on Lashley, which was awesome. But as the group, they could have done a lot more with Hurt Business, and because they should have used that to build Cedric up as well at the same time, and they didn't. I've got no idea where Cedric Alexandris. I've got no idea at all. He's still there somewhere, but I don't know where. So that was a missed opportunity, and it's great to see these guys coming to AEW. But someone posted a video of Shelton Benjamin, like, can't believe WWE let this guy go, and they're showing highlights of Shelton Benjamin and all the crazy stuff he used to do. But it was like clips from like 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago. Yes, so it was.
I love Benjamin, but like this stuff was like 20 years ago.
He's 49.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's like when AEW started, it was always on the premise that you would have the older guys there, but it would be a platform for newer wrestlers to be able to come through and show what they can do. And all we're seeing at the moment is John Moxley, who's fucking 50 years old or whatever, Jericho, who's fucking ancient. You know, they're bringing all these other older guys in, and it's like, hold on a minute, sort of, you know, what's going on here, sort of thing. Don't get me wrong, WWE, we just saw in Bad Blood, we had Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. Both of them are not young anymore. You know, you have got, but then I suppose Finn Balor's not sort of young. You know, it's saying, highlight that comment there, JB.
Yeah, sorry, here it comes.
Like, bruv, I swear
Don't we
Moxley's 50
appreciate
years
that?
old. He's fucking 38. He's younger than me. He looks like my fucking dad. Like, what?
He's 38. I'm fucking 35. I look half his age.
You know what I'm saying, bruv? I'm 42. I'm fucking looking good, man. Fuck
Yeah,
Moxley.
if we're disclosing age, I'm 37, so he's a year older than me. But fuck me, like,
Man, you know what I mean? The
Wow.
business has been hard on him. You know what I mean? It's all
Life
that.
has
You know,
been
it's
hard.
all the pasta in the head.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
Takes its toll. So-
Yeah.
But you know, WWE have still got their older guys. But NXT is the place where the younger guys are coming through, and that is really, I think, why AEW gets compared to NXT, because I don't think AEW can really compare with the main shows of WWE.
No.
But NXT is what AEW should have been. It should have been the majority of, like, not developmental talent, but like your younger guys, like your
Young,
MJF.
fresh faces. Yeah.
Yeah, your fresh faces. You know, NXT it got the ability, and they're bringing the older guys into you know, NXT to bolster that up, and that is what the business is going to look like in 10 years' time with those guys on the main roster. And like Dan Kine P as well, again, is saying WWE, a lot of the top roster is, you know, into their late 30s or early 40s, late 30s, early 40s. You know, but NXT is a place where they're starting to bring these guys through, like Bron Breaker's starting to come through, and the other, you know, got people coming through from NXT. That's what it's supposed to be, the feeder for the next generation.
Yeah, I mean, look what they've done with Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio has no right to be as over as he is as a heel.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know. I think he turned heel at the perfect moment.
We was all there, weren't we?
Yeah, we were there. Exactly. We
Yeah.
were there. The stars aligned for that heel turn, and almost everything he's done ever since has been fucking brilliant. Being arrested for like 20 minutes and telling everyone he's been, you know, been inside and all this, like, it's just been fantastic. And some of that as well can be attributed to Corey Graves's, you know, storytelling as a commentator when it comes to Dominic Mysterio, and like making those almost Heenan-esque sort of jokes about him being inside and all the trouble he had in the yard and shit like that. It all really came together perfectly, and you don't get many heel turns that just work amazingly like that. You know, I mean, some of these guys will flip and turn babyface and heel a lot of their careers, and it just won't ever be as good as what Dom Mysterio has right now.
One good thing as well with Dom, man, when he went on to Logan Paul's podcast and they were talking about Logan Paul in Japan and that, and he was like, he's like, Dom's got so much charisma and he's so quick in his thinking, and what he was saying, he was like, yeah, you'd be the fucking biggest heel in Japan, like come out with the hat on and everything. Like, I was fucking dying, man. I was like, oh my god, I couldn't breathe. And he was talking about the hat, like fucking, but it's stuff like that. It's, you know, these younger guys coming through, and like I say, he hasn't, you know, he really didn't have any right to be sort of where he is from when he started. I couldn't stand Dom as a worker, because he was sort of like trying to be the baby face and all that, and he like wasn't very built, and he sort of was a bit clunky with his working and everything. And I thought, another case of fucking like nepotism or whatever. You know, but he really has come on leaps and bounds. And like you say, we were there in the bollock kick that was heard around the world. You know, we were at that show, and it was fucking great, man. Like, fantastic stuff.
Good stuff. It's but yeah, like you said, you've got him, Bron Breakker, Carmelo Hayes is getting a push now. He's he's having this bit of a program with Andrade. You've got guys in NXT, Trick Williams, who's over like
Rick Williams.
Rover.
Yeah.
They've just signed up Stephanie Fakir and Julia. I'm guessing they're only young girls as well. They've made something out of Ethan Page, even. You know what I mean? What's Ethan Page? He must be like early to mid 30s.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan Page has been fucking brilliant in NXT, really.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to, if you want to look at it and go, AEW fucking fumbled him. AEW have really fumbled a lot of people that they could have, but again, it's at the expense of they could have pushed these people, but they've ended up having Jericho on doing a segment every fucking show, and they've had Moxley cutting himself open, and it's one of them ones where you had people on the roster like Ricky Starks. You had these young guys, MJF. You had these young guys that you could build up and stuff. But they're having to sort of take a back seat now to these sort of guys that don't really want to let go of the spot. It's a bit weird.
I also think they gave in to that hardcore group of fans by, not squashing, but like pulling back on pushes of people like Wardlow. And I'm sorry, man.
Talk
Wardlow
about a drop ball.
fucking potential. Yeah. What a kick in the balls that is. Someone like Wardlow. That's why I kind of worry for Bobby Lashley, because they don't like big guys. That whole fan base do not like monsters. They don't like them the way that WWE and WWF loved them. They don't like these big jack guys who, can't do 50 flips and, all these, 60-minute matches and whatnot. Like, fucking hell, man. Like, those guys are what get the people going. I don't care what anyone says. Someone like Wardlow, when he turned on MJF, he had the world at his fucking feet.
He had it in his hand, bro. Yep.
They blew it. And
Wardlow
about that.
Wardlow's essentially what would have happened to Batista if his push didn't go right.
Oh, yeah.
That's basically what Wardlow is. Lance Archer. How have they not done anything with him? Jake Snake Roberts. We've had Jake on the show. They've got Jake. He says they don't use me. You've got one and he's had his troubles in the past. He's past them now. Yeah. But Jake Snake, you got one of the best talkers in history, one of the most creative minds, and you're not using them. Like for creative or anything, but Wardlow, Lance Archer,
I mean, even Jake Hager's a big guy who could have really been up there competing with like your Lance Archers and your Wardlows, because he's like a bigger built guy.
Brian Cage.
Yeah,
Brian Cage, another one. You could have done something with him. They like Joe because Joe is a wrestler. If you want to use the terminology, Joe is a wrestler, but they can't book monsters, and it's a shame. Like someone who I think is, I've been watching him for a couple of years now. Now he's in TNA now. I think he'll get the big move eventually. Is Hammerstone, Alex Hammerstone?
Yeah, he was in NWA for a bit as well.
He did NXT for one shot, didn't he?
Yeah, he popped in for 1 week. Yeah. I think he could have I've interviewed him, and nice guy. If you're looking at someone for physique, and like Renee used to call it the airport test, walking through an airport, you got to look at Hammerstone has got it.
Yeah.
But like you said, a lot of the younger talent, like the MJFs. I mean, MJF, I don't know if he's off TV again, but how much has he cooled off since when he was hot? Adam Cole, in my opinion, has been a bust. People be like, he main evented Wembley. I'm like, the Wembley show was always going to sell out or, sell big anyway, because it's a big show in Wembley. Doesn't matter. It's like WrestleMania now. Doesn't matter who's in the main event. It's WrestleMania. Didn't matter who was going to main event All In, because it was a big show what was going to happen in Wembley. Besides that match against MJF, what's Adam Cole actually done in AEW?
He's lost his missus.
He had that. He had that storyline with MJF, and apart from that, that's it.
Where did that lead? When he got revealed as the devil? Okay, you've done the reveal while he's still injured. You took MJF off TV so he could get a hair transplant. MJF MJF has come back.
Shooting.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's the truth, I don't think he's going to deny it. I mean, look at his hair before and after he came back.
Like Steph
But
when she had the boob job, when she come back after the boob job.
hell yeah.
And like Jericho had the video footage.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they had him come back. They had him come back as Triple H for some reason. It's like, okay, Adam Cole's still out. Okay, well, let's just turn you heel. They turned him heel at his match program with Ospreay, and I don't know where he's at. I think he's gone.
Yeah,
And
this
this
lack
is the
of
thing.
structure, this huge
Inconsistent.
lack of structure is so shit.
Yeah, man.
Like, they turned Statlander babyface for, reasons because they don't know how to write fucking wrestling shows.
Yeah.
And, poor old Stokely fucking Hathaway is back on his ass. What he was doing with Statlander might not have been to everyone's taste, but he was doing something that was mildly entertaining on fucking TV.
They've
Now all of a
forgotten.
sudden, he's been fucking rushed out, and Statlander's been put in as a babyface for nothing.
I thought she was a heel.
She was until she was babyface on TV with no fucking story behind it, and that's the biggest problem. They don't know how to write TV wrestling. They can have those matches and those nights, where the matches are fantastic and all that, which probably will happen at WrestleDream. There'll be great matches, but there'll be no stories apart from maybe one or two, which will be either furthered a little bit or finished off because someone will get beat clean or or someone will get injured or some shit like that. It just doesn't work. The whole system is flawed. And for anyone to suggest that people like Will Washington that are great TV writers is absolutely shit. They can get fucked because they waste 2 hours of TV or more even with the other shows every week with this shit. Sorry, I'm off on a tangent. We should have called it tangent wrestling.
Tangent wrestling, man. That's the way forward.
Yeah.
But no, it's. I'm not saying we could, but we probably could. If we had, say, there's 20 people on the roster. Okay, Ospreay, Swerve. Okay, we'll put you in a match tonight because you have a good match. Oh, Daniel Senior there. Okay, let's stick you in with Danny Garcia. Okay, let's put you in the match. Oh, Bucks, user there. Okay, let's stick you in with Private Party. Okay, you'll have a decent match. We can do that.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah,
we can do that. But if you ask me to book a story, I mean, if I've really, really thought about it, I might have some lame, poor attempt. But anyone can put a match together, no problem. But like long-term storytelling, they just haven't got it, unfortunately, and it's a shame. I respect what Tony's done. Tony Khan, the guy's running the wrestling company, NFL team, and a football team. I respect the work that guy puts in. But sometimes you can be stretched too thin. You need to delegate them things and bring in like some sort of a booker. Fuck, man. There must be people out there you can bring in. I mean, probably not Jim Cornette because every company he's been with, he's been fired.
Bro, no, Tony Khan has had. He's had Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, Jake the Snake Roberts, Bret the Hitman Hart offered to fucking help out, and he said, "No, we want you."
I spoke about this to a wrestler today, and he was like,
what I mean?
And he was like, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah," and he was like, "I heard about that." He said, "I didn't know if it was true." I said, "Apparently, he offered his services, he got turned down because they said they've got Orange Cassidy."
It's fucking incredible. And even Regal was doing stuff in the ring, and he said he didn't, that he wanted there to be there to sort of help the talent to develop things that was going on, and he never really done anything. It's like, the aim of AEW, the way it's run, you can see, and even Tony Khan has said himself, he goes to the tapings and he's got people just bombarding him with stuff, and then he's just like, right, no, we'll do this and not do that, and then it's like Adderall booking, dude. There's no sort of structure and long-term plans of what is going on, and you can't. If no one cares, like I always bring the analogy, it's like there's a movie called Idiocracy, right? I don't know if you've ever seen it. Right?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Great movie, okay?
Yeah.
And in the end of the movie, this guy who's like the mediocre brain, but he's like the smartest man in the world because everyone's fucking dumb. And he says, look, there was a time when people used to read books, and it's like, you know, you need to know whose arse it is and why it's being kicked for you to give a shit about the story. And that's exactly what it is. It's like wrestling is just like, you know, fake fighting or whatever you want to say. You know, it's not always a I've just seen another comment from Dan Kind P. Electrolytes is what plants crave. That's right. You know, one of the greatest, most underrated movies in the fucking world. But yeah, he's right. You know, you need to know whose arse it is and why it's being kicked. That's what makes the story. You can have all the fucking 5-star matches you want, but if no one cares, sort of, you know, who's going to win and why they're going to win, it's like, you know, we was in Wembley and we saw Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. I always get them mixed up. You know, people cared and they were fucking all in, excuse the pun, about who was going to win that match and what was going on, because the story of what was happening in that match, people, and you know, we were fucking in, bro. We were into that match, right? When
yes,
it
was a very, very good match, and it was just really well laid out. The story behind it was perfectly fine. Everything made sense. So the whole, you know, the 40,000 odd whatever that was in there were behind Danielson for this whole thing, like to win the world title. Yeah. And that made perfect sense. It was, you know, it's not like, yeah, and that's a different thing, because it's the world title. It means something. It's the biggest thing. Like when they bring in someone new and, you know, nobody knows who they are necessarily. And for those idiot hardcores to go, Google it, you filthy casual. Yeah. Like, no, we're not going to fucking Google it. You can fucking, you know, the show can explain it to me. You know, they're not going to, you know, when they brought in the Mitchell brothers and EastEnders, they didn't, you know, just bring them in cold and say, you're right, Google these fucks. No.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to explain who these people are, and you have to, you know, through the show, you have to, you know, use their name a lot, and, you know, make sure people, you know, they get over it. You know, it's fucking EastEnders. I'm using that as an analogy right now.
No, but it writes when David Wicks turns up. You know what I mean? You don't just Google him. Like, you need to know David Wicks. They're selling it. They're like, oh, you know, and then
you get them over with, you know, by using them and you know, making them prominent. Just bringing them in cold and saying, no, trust me, they're fucking brilliant. That doesn't work.
It was like back in the day, and I do miss vignettes.
The vignettes, exactly.
Yep.
Like, say back in like the late 80s, early 90s, late 80s mainly. So unless, you know, a bit before our time, but unless you was like reading, I don't know, the newsletter every week, and if you was like really into wrestling, getting your subscriptions and stuff, you didn't really, outside, say, WWF, you didn't really know what was happening in, say, AWA, for example, or NWA. So when WWF brought in Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, before he had a match, he might have had some match on some house shows, but you'd be seeing these vignettes of him bowling a perfect game or doing a 147, for example, snooker and shit.
Yep.
You know, you had these vignettes
and catching it,
catching his
throwing
own
it from one side of the that's right.
You had all these vignettes for him, or for $1 Million Man, for example. You had this rich, arrogant guy come in. He had this, you know, manservant and shit, you know, stuff like that. You had an idea who that character was and his attitude was before he even put on a pair of trunks or tights. So tape promo. You could even have tape promos.
I appreciate the point on taped promos, but for those taped promos, these guys need to be able to cut a promo.
True.
And my God, would you let some of these wrestlers in AEW anywhere near a microphone? I know Daniel Garcia had one this week on Tuesday with his special announcement of him signing a new deal with AEW. Fuck me, it was bad. And no, I really do appreciate the point, Dan Kind P. I suppose managed and edited properly, those tape promos could be something. They really could, but you know, they need power plant style training. They need promo classes, and the people that went to AEW went there because they thought that NXT's promo classes were beneath them. And look at where we are now. People like Trick Williams, who are, you know, are really prospering because of, you know, his promos, his whole aura, his look. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, and yeah, they train them to read scripts. Yeah, I mean, I'm Dusty's promo classes were a bit different, weren't they? Like, he was really trying to get them to embrace character and stuff. It's
like I hate to shit on him, but say it's like Ricochet, for example. Ricochet's promo has not changed since he's been WWE. During his time off, I've heard stories of wrestlers, even Brett, for example. Brett realized Brett wasn't a great promo, and he was doing a backstage promo with Anvil, and I forgot it might have been with Mean Gene, or it was some backstage interviewer. When he watched it back, he realized like his eyes was like looking all over, and he looked like really nervous. So that's why he started wearing sunglasses, which eventually evolved into the shades. And he recognized that a lot of the wrestlers back in the day, they would stand in front of a mirror and cut promos, like working on their craft. But a lot of today's wrestlers, and like I said, I don't want to bury AEW, but it's mainly AEW that's got the problem. The reason they do all this stupid shit in the ring and all these flips and they go too fast because they haven't got a character or the charisma to cut a promo or to have a character. That's why they have to do larger, like, stupid stuff in the ring where that's great. You've done a million flips, but so is this match. What's happened just before you in that tag team. So Ricochet, between his time in WWE, if he had the 90 days or what, I don't know. But between that time there and him going to AEW, he should have been busting his ass learning how to cut a promo, even change his voice, because his voice is just not suited. The best thing he probably could have done was just revert back to his Prince Puma gimmick from Lucha Underground, just stick a mask on and don't speak. That would have been best for him.
Even those 80s promo guys that couldn't cut a promo, they just shout. Just give me a shout. Just have him screaming into the camera. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like,
different.
Sid could. I mean, Sid is a probably a different case because he could cut a promo in his own way, but a lot of the time he was just yelling.
You know what?
Screaming and shouting.
Stick some cocaine.
It's just okay. One of my favorite wrestling moments of all time. This is, and it's literally like way up there. And I will always love this moment, and I watch it as regular as I can. It's WrestleMania 11. Sid in the dressing room, right, with all the fucking heels and everything, right, and you got Nicholas Turturro in there with him on the mic, right, and Sid's like, what do you think he's doing there now, Nick? He goes, he's talking, he's like shouting and screaming about the fear. He's like, he goes, and his final line is like, your dreams have now become nightmares. And then he goes to take the mic away. He's like, the nightmares. And then he just like, he keeps repeating it. And like, it's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in wrestling or ever will see. Sid's promo in the dressing room at WrestleMania 11. We've got to post the clip on Twitter at some point tonight.
Yeah, we'll find it.
It is fucking incredible, man. And you've got like Jenny McCarthy in there as well. And she's just like looking at him like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, she's shitting her pants. Like, what is happening, dude? Like, she's got wrestlers all around her and Sid just like shouting. But it's beautiful moment. Absolutely beautiful moment. Sorry to tangent again, but that is like when you mention Sid and promos, the first thing that comes to my head is like, your dreams have now become the nightmares. Like, it happens.
Sorry, let him fucking shout. Let him scream at the camera or an interviewer, like, because sometimes, and this isn't, a problem in one company, sometimes the interviewer sometimes takes away focus from the person being interviewed and cutting the promo. It can happen, but I do think, promo class. I know that it sounds shit, and no AEW fan would agree. They think that they can just let the wrestling and the flips and stuff do the talking, and it's not enough. You need promo. You need to be almost an all-rounder.
Well, yeah,
not everyone's going to be LA Knight. Not everyone's going to be LA Knight. No, but these fuck it. Let these guys start building their own catchphrase. And I don't mean Mercedes is, manufactured, force-fed CEO shit. Yeah, no, that's garbage. But
have you seen Tony Khan trying to do that dance?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my fucking day! I swear
I
I
hope
sent
he's
you a
fucking
video
her.
in it. Oh mate, and he was like trying to
Hopefully
do
he's
the
getting his money's worth.
He's like he's got a broom up his ass. He's got like no like natural rhythm or any sort of like moves or anything, and it was just
No.
cringe fest, bro. Like man, it's incredible. Like the wrestlers, they know how to play Tony Khan. I think I know. You know, look at the money Mercedes has been paid. You know, but Tony Khan's just loving being around. You know, the boys. You know, like he's sort of fucking. You know, it's crazy, man. Like him doing that dance was just like, oh wow, like wow, 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 wow.
I mean, fair play to him. You know, he's born in the right family. He's got a shitload of money. He's got more money. He probably spend more money in 1 week than I'll ever see in my lifetime. He's essentially living every wrestling fan's fantasy. He's
Absolutely.
He's got his own company. He's got real life action figures, and he's clashing them together. So God bless him, and he's given loads of people jobs, and he's paying them really well. So God bless him. But please, Tony, just delegate some of the booking to a Jake. Bring in, I don't know. I'm not his biggest fan. Bring in Dutch Mantel. Bring in Jim Cornette, for example.
Dutch, yeah, Dutch is a shout.
Fuck it, give Russo a shout. You know what I mean? Try something different because it's not working. What you're doing at the minute, it's not working. You got the TV deal. Congratulations. That was that was a big deal. Okay, getting that TV deal. It wasn't because of the ratings, because the ratings consistently have been going down. I just think that they must have been desperate for some television show. But congrats on that. But you need to have some sort of a change because the numbers is consistently going down and down and down, and something needs to happen. NXT's move over to CW. I don't know if CW is much bigger than USA Network or what. I'm not really. I don't really know. I don't think it is. I couldn't tell you because I'm not from the States, so I don't know how big one channel is compared to the other. I haven't got a clue. But it seems to be working for them. 2 weeks in a row now, they've beaten AEW. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
So they're doing something right. But yeah, AEW, like I said, I don't want to keep shitting on them, and I'm not burying them. I just want to point out what's going wrong, and they've mishandled a lot of talents. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know. I was speaking to someone who knows quite a lot of what's happening there, who knows a lot of the boys and girls over there. And I said to him, to me, there's no go-to guy who's like your big star or big female star. I know people like to say it's Mercedes Moné, but I remember I was breaking down the ratings of AEW every week, and I'm pretty sure every segment she was in, the rating went down. I don't know if any segment what she was in went up. They all went down, and she's terrible. Like I've always thought she was overrated, but she is overrated.
When she's got good direction and she's been having her matches sort of produced to a point, you know, and she's sort of been led by the nose a little bit. I like Sasha Banks as a character. I thought you as a wrestler, you've got to be arrogant, egotistical, flamboyant to a point. That's the whole. We love characters, right? But she's sort of loving the smell of her own shit at the moment. But the only problem is she is shit at the moment. So it's literally shit that she's smelling. Like, but she thinks she's the greatest thing. But because she's got that creative control, she's literally everything that you're seeing her do is her own doing, and she's like clearly taking no direction. But like you say, who's there directing them? There's no one really giving them. Are there match producers there? Are there people that sit down and just go, right, this is match 1, so we're going to go this way with it. This is match 2, so we're going to go this way. There's no pacing of the card. AEW in Wembley was a great fucking example of that. There was no pacing on the card at all, was there?
No, and this is something I wanted to, just to add to. I know people shit on the WWE 5-match premium live event thing, but let me tell you from my experience in Berlin, at Bash in Berlin, it worked a fucking dream for the live crowd. because that gap in between matches, which is, you know, it's quite lengthy, isn't it? Those are your piss breaks. You don't
Yeah.
see a match where everybody's running out like you did when Jericho came out at Wembley or anything like that, you know, or something similar. You know, there was no piss break match because the piss breaks are in between, you know, the matches. You get a nice long break where everyone can go to the concession stand, get themselves another couple of beers, another snack or whatever. Like,
Get a
it's
t-shirt.
fucking perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go and get yourself a t-shirt. It is unbelievably brilliant for a live crowd. I get it must be frustrating for those watching it at home.
But it's
You've
not
got
though.
to give that the people that paid the premium amount for a seat in that arena for that show. You've got to give them a little bit of respect and a little bit of, you know, time and stuff to, you know, let them take their time, let them pick something out, let them go and get another drink, let them go for a piss. Like, I think it works a treat for those people that have paid good money to be there. They don't miss a minute by, you know, because the show is rushed and you've got match after match after match after match. And I really do appreciate what they're doing. Yeah, it is a lengthy process when you're watching it at home, but fuck it, you paid $9.99 to watch it, not, you know, a couple £100 or whatever you might have paid to be there. Yeah, I do think it's brilliant, and I know that not a lot of people will agree with me unless they've experienced it. And yeah, like I said, we have. And so whilst I'm here, Ms. Amanda Jane, hi boys, love from California and Wrestling on the Rocks Thursday crew, which is Amanda and Digi Demon. So what's going on, guys? Yeah, I appreciate that. And one for you, James. Great to see you. Surprised AEW's #1 fan, Dave Meltzer, didn't have a ridiculous excuse about AEW's ratings. He didn't. He actually realized that it was bad. The only person who sort of said it, you know, it's not that much of a, you know, big deal and a problem was Sean Ross Sapp. So take from that what you, everyone's favorite journalist. Yeah. Sorry.
Sarcasm in your voice.
No, we're British. We always sound like that. Yeah. Sorry, I went off on one there with the stadium and the pacing of shows. Does anyone have anything to add about that? Sorry, Chris.
No, James, I think you.
Yeah, like I said, I think we covered it really. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Sorry, the 5-match pay-per-views or PLEs, whatever people want to call them, I don't mind them. One of my favorite eras of wrestling is Ruthless Aggression era, and a lot of the Raw, SmackDown pay-per-views, you would have maybe 6 matches, maybe 7. So when you see match like a 14-match card, it's a little bit too much wrestling for me.
Yeah,
Quality over quantity.
Even at home, and this is some sort of things, this weird shit that comes to my head. Like, watch the wrestling match, focus on the wrestling match. You've then got 20 minutes to sit on your phone, go and get a drink. Fucking, like, most people sit on their fucking phones all day anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so it gives you time to, you know, sit on your phone, you know, tweet about what you just saw, you know, or whatever. Look at video clips of, you know, funny shit, like, because the mind doesn't always want to focus on the same thing like for 3 hours, and you know, we're all fucking guilty of it. So you get to scroll your phone and piss about and all that. I don't know, maybe they're onto something. I don't know. I'm a fan, so what can I say?
Yeah.
Cook, let it cook, as the kids say. Fucking hell.
Yes,
Demon, what's happening, man? Yeah, like, no, we appreciate that. Yeah, let it cook. It's not something I would usually say, but yeah, we'll take it. Are you watching WrestleDream this weekend, James?
You know, I think there's like, you know, I have to watch like my grass grow.
Yeah, I'm washing my hair this weekend.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough, man. Like, you know, let's.
Well,
I mean, there's no.
So what's the match card? I did see a picture of it. So is it?
I saw that as well.
Moxley against Danielson for the world title.
Moxley and Danielson main event, yeah, for the world championship. I mean, I don't think there's any weird rules where
sounds like a pay-per-view mid-card match from 2016 or something. 2015.
You know, but then there's no weird rules to say that the title's only, on the line for 20 minutes or anything like that.
Oh,
like
yeah,
there
what was that shit?
week.
You've
see,
got
this is the
there is
weird shit, yeah.
stipulations. There is a couple. Hologram versus the Beast Mortos is a 2 out of 3 falls.
Oh, can't wait for that.
Oh yeah, of course, mate. Young Bucks versus Private Party. 3-way, you've got Takashita or Take a Shit as fucking thing he calls him. Ricochet and Ospreay in a 3-way.
Oh yeah, that's the one that they said was going to be better than Joe, Daniels, and Styles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Can't wait for that,
mate. That is fucking sacrilege. We've spoke about this. How there's no way it's going to be better than Joe, AJ, and fucking Daniels. And they've wrestled each other a few times in TNA as well that had fantastic matches. You got like Brody King versus Darby Allin. You got
what's that all about? What's that for?
It's just a singles match.
Okay, cool.
Why do you need a story, mate? It's going to be a good match. Shut up and watch it. You don't need a fucking story. Fucking Mark.
Google it.
What do you want a story for?
Exactly. Yes.
Oh man,
but you've got fucking Chris Jericho versus Mark Briscoe. And you had Jericho.
That's the Ring of Honor World Championship, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Ooh, I have to watch now.
Can't wait.
Well, Briscoe's going over, I would like to think, on that.
Jericho's going to be, and I tweeted about this the other day, Jericho's going to be winning backyard indie fed titles in like 10 years' time, isn't he? It's just what's going to happen. Like he's never going to fucking stop. He's going to, end up in just going lower and lower down the wrestling scale.
Well, he's got the cruise, isn't he? He's got the cruise where he can
still be WAW champion before he fucking knows it.
Yeah, he's got the cruise championship that he's gonna, you got my boy on the cruise as well. What's his name? Real one, not real one.
Enzo.
Enzo, yeah.
Oh man, Enzo, great character and all that stuff, but what a fucking fool! Like,
hey, you watch your fucking mouth.
Enzo
yeah, exactly.
It was so over.
They were massive fall from grace, unreal. Like how?
Yeah, but you know what's sad about him though, bro? Like he didn't actually do anything, and they just sacked him on the premise that something might have happened, and it had come out that it was all horseshit. Yeah. And it was like it was at a time where it was like the whole fucking like Me Too thing and whatever, and it was like any sort of sniff of anything, which is ironic as fuck. When at the time Vince was probably shitting on people's heads. And you've got him kicking people and sacking people like that over something that they never done, and then behind the scenes, God knows what sort of heinous shit he was doing.
Considering all the wrong-uns and absolute pricks that wrestling has let sort of return, and let back in and all that, like, I'm very surprised that Enzo or Real One or whatever you want to call him hasn't had that chance to re-establish. I mean, I'm genuinely surprised because that guy could hold a crowd in the palm of his fucking hand, and no one really has taken a chance on it.
Well, the stories now resurfacing about, I think, because he might have done a podcast where he was talking about Liv Morgan. He used to date Liv Morgan, and he got her the job. And then but now he's giving it the woe is me sort of thing. But it's like he cheated on her, I think, multiple times, and he's leaving that part of the story out.
Why?
I know.
Why Liv Morgan is literally number one in WWE at the minute.
Yeah,
why
and
would
it's
you do that?
He's leaving that out. But he's my boy, man. I like Enzo. Like Enzo and Big Cass at that time, like you say, there was it was like the Degeneration X sort of pops when they were coming out, and the whole fucking
it was the New Age Outlaws, wasn't it? Reborn.
Realest guys in the room. Yeah, it was fucking incredible, dude. And the merch I've got to this day, I've got 3 Enzo and Big Cass t-shirts. 3, dude. One of them is the Cup of Haters. Actually, I've got 4 because one of them I got too small for me, and I gave it to my son. It was a certified G one, right? So I had that one. I had the Cup of Haters one. I had the soft one with the finger, and then I had another soft one as well. You know what I mean? So it's like the merch that they were doing and what they were doing on the screen. It's like, you don't always have to be, and this is the key that AEW needs to understand as well. It's not always the best wrestlers that make the best wrestlers. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, am I right in saying that? I mean, that's a good point about Enzo and Cass. Arguably, you could say they was the most over tag team not to become tag team champions. Them and maybe Crime Time, you would argue.
Yeah.
I'm sure I saw it. Am I right in saying there's that tag team in AEW who's like got like an 80s gimmick, the Blade Runners or
Outrunners or
Outrunners?
Yeah.
Am I right in saying they're like one of the top merch sellers at the minute?
I
Possibly.
don't know.
I'm sure I saw something saying like they're third or fourth in like the merch sellers at the minute. And I don't know if they're great wrestlers. Like I said, I haven't watched AEW for a while. I couldn't tell you if they're great wrestlers, but from what I have seen of them, like just popping up on social media, they've got a gimmick. Definitely, they've got a gimmick.
Yeah.
So like you said, we're going back to Enzo and Kaz. Don't have to be great wrestlers to get over. It's all about the mic.
The Outrunners or whatever they're called, right? I reckon they've stole Sunset Skip's gimmick, because our boy Sunset Skip is like the 80s throwback, and he was there sort of thing, right? And that's sort of their gimmick, that they were there.
With the bright colours and the shades and the
with the
grainy
fucking
footage. Yeah, man. I
Do you know
appreciate
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Do you know what I mean? And a lot of things that are coming out on social media, they're like, yeah, we were backstage when fucking Hogan slammed Andre and all this shit. You know what I mean? Like, they're sort of...
Skip was doing that gimmick for a long time.
Skip was
and
doing
we were
it
we play into it as well. Yeah, like
yeah, man. So it's one of them ones where I've clocked it when I've seen the stuff coming out on social media. I'm like, that's our boy Sunset Skip. He invented the sunset flip, incidentally.
Yeah, this is a really good shout. Actually, the name is hilarious as well.
What Edge and Christian, they had the podcast, and they had like two characters. I think one character is called Flip Sunset, and I forgot the name of the other one, but it was like something like that. But it was hilarious. Edge and Christian used to have a great podcast as well. It was so entertaining.
Nice.
Yeah, Cork Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar, hey,
fantastic. Cass is money, and he needs to return to WWE. I don't know if he needs to return to WWE, but the thing about him and the crowd in the UK when he was against Hook, I don't know if you saw that, James, but like, I mean, Cass was getting like Road Warrior style fucking you know, pops and cheers for being a heel. It is incredible, and that can happen. Like, you know, Cass has an incredible look about him. It's Big Bill now, isn't it? But an incredible look, an incredible, like, you know, just an aura that just works. Why pair him with fucking Chris Jericho?
Like the thing with the big guys, and don't get wrong, we all appreciate good wrestling. My favorite wrestler to this day is still Bret Hart. Okay, so obviously I enjoy wrestling, but you still need those larger than life figures to watch. Like if I was born, you know, say the past, I don't know, say if I was born 10 years ago, okay, and today's wrestling is the wrestling I've got to watch, I don't think I would be that much of a wrestling fan. But I was born in 89, albeit, so when I started growing up, it was new generation era, but my father had the videotapes of like the late 80s, early 90s. So I grew up watching Hulk Hogan, Warrior, Macho Man, Andre the Giant, and all of the film. These people was larger than life figures. So I can understand like people like Cass getting cheered. Sid, we'll go back to Sid because Sid's fucking awesome. Rest in peace. Sid's against Shawn Michaels, who's one of, if not the greatest wrestler of all time. At Survivor Series, they're cheering for Sid like over like Rover. Now he was a face then, but then they threw the match back at Rumble 97 in San Antonio, Shawn Michaels' home backyard, and they're still cheering for Sid. And this comes a couple months after he got a fucking camera and drove it into Jose Lothario's head. And they're still cheering for him because he's this big jacked guy. Even the ECW fans, who were some of the most smartest or Marcus fans, whatever they call them at the time. When Sid came in, they cheered for him because it was Sid, this big, massive guy.
Yeah, he's a
So,
fucking star. Yeah.
like I said,
They were cheering for Sid
he was a
over
star.
Hogan at one point.
At the Rumble,
Yeah.
when he threw him
Yeah.
out, they
Yeah.
were cheering Sid, but it's about, again, it's one of those other things. It's about marketability.
The man
Yeah.
who rules the world.
You look at something like an action figure of, say, for instance, Big Bill or Cass. He's going to be fucking massive. He's going to have all the muscles, and then you've got a string bean like Osprey.
Mm.
Who's going to wear a flashy outfit, sure, but it's not an imposing figure, even something like a wrestling figure to make or anything like that. It's just, these big monsters like Vader or something like that. They're big, or even the action figures we've got, Chris, of the Galoobs with Sting, and he's got he's just ripped to shit. It's optics, isn't it? It's about good optics, and half of the AEW roster, they all sort of look the same.
I think that's why the online fans love them type of wrestlers, because they say, "Oh, I can relate to these wrestlers." When I'm watching wrestling, I don't want to. I don't know about relating, but I guess a lot of these wrestling fans online, they see themselves like that wrestler, like a Kevin Owens, for example, like a John Moxley, because they all look like normal people. I don't want to watch normal people on my screen. I want to watch current day, say someone current day now, like a Roman Reigns, who's he's not the biggest of guys, but he still looks like a superstar. When you want to see when the women's on the TV screen, I want to see the most beautiful women on TV screens. I don't want a normal looking person. I want to see like a Liv Morgan or Mandy Rose, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want it's like you don't want these people to be real life people. You want them to be like movie stars, because
they're characters. They're supposed to be characters.
Yeah. But when I'm seeing Orange Cassidy on my screen, where's the appeal? People's like, he's an amazing wrestler. And I'm like,
Orange peel. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Orange peel. Oh, nice. Sorry, a bit of a dad joke.
It's like, what is it with this guy? Why does people like him? People be like, "Oh, the Young Bucks are the greatest tag team of all time." They might be. I don't know. I'd rather watch. I know. I'm like, I'd rather watch the Road Warriors or Demolition.
But you look at it from this aspect, right? Even in the world of another sport, boxing, for instance. Are you going to watch an undisputed super flyweight championship fight, or are you going to sit and wait for the two big fuckers in the heavyweight division to blast?
Yeah, you can wait for Tyson Fury and Usyk. Yeah,
exactly. You're going to wait for Dubois and Joshua. You're going to sit there and pay big money, good money. Like the amount of money people were paying, 90 thousand, genuinely 90 thousand, squeezing into Wembley to watch Dubois and Joshua beat the shit out of each other for what, 5 rounds? Barely 15 minutes. People want to see big jacked up monsters go at it. They don't want to see people that look like themselves. And if we're relating to any wrestlers at the moment, I probably relate to the Shockmaster. I'm overweight and I'm a bit clumsy every now and again.
He's fell on his fucking ass.
Oh, Bulldog, rest in peace.
Oh, crazy!
I mean, even with a big jack guy, look at Bulldog. Like after he split up from Dynamite, look at how big he got. I mean, unfortunately, he paid for it later on in life. But at the time, like how massive was Bulldog in WWF in '92?
We know it's terrible. It's terrible getting on the juice and doing the few cycles and this, that, and the other, mate. But how fucking popular did he get through that period?
Well, dude,
it's mental, isn't it? Like
the thing is now, right? We had this conversation. I swear we had this conversation on the podcast with Billy Barty when he was about steroids in wrestling. Now, I'm an advocate of look. It's not Olympic fucking sport, right? Steroids are widely available medically, and when people, it wasn't the steroids that was killing wrestlers back then. It wasn't the steroids. It was other stuff that was killing them. It was the prescription painkillers that was killing them.
Yeah.
It was the party drugs that was killing them. It was all the other stuff mixed into ones. It wasn't necessarily the steroids.
Probably
There's
the
a great,
sleepovers at P Diddy's house as well.
honestly, mate. It was. There's a documentary called Bigger, Stronger, Faster, right? And it's by Chris Bell, who his brother was a wrestler. He's been into wrestling. They're all bodybuilders or whatever. And he was basically saying, look, it's not steroids that's killing people. It's all the other shit. Like steroids are pretty pretty safe. You know what I mean? Like, it's it's not steroids that was killing people. I mean, look, if it was steroids that was killing people, Hogan would have been dead a long time ago.
I interviewed fucking Warlord a few months ago. He still looks great, and look how big he was in 1991.
Yeah,
There's this story. I believe it's Shawn Michaels. Warlord said, "Can you hit me up?" So it was Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect, and they went to stick the needle in his ass to give him the steroids, and it wouldn't go in. And he basically said, "I think you're full." They couldn't get it in. Yeah, they said I couldn't get the needle in. And like I said, I interviewed him a few months ago. Great guy, by the way. Nice guy. And he still looked like in good shape and stuff. So
nowadays, if you do the cleanses in between the cycles and that, we're at a time where you can sort of cleanse your body to a point in between the cycles, and you can do it fairly healthily. You don't have to, it won't kill you to be on steroids. And I'm an advocate of like, look, it's not a fucking, if these guys want to get that sort of jacked up physique, let them fucking juice up, dude. Like, fuck it, man. Like, obviously you have a wellness for, like maybe the more dangerous stuff, like the the opiates and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Fair. But let the guys smoke weed if they want to smoke weed. It helps with pain. It helps with the stress. It helps them sleep and all stuff like that. And if people want to get on the juice, man, I say fuck it, man. If it's under a doctor or whatever, and you can monitor these guys and they're having regular like medical tests and all that, let them fucking juice up, man. I love juiced up dickheads. That's the whole point of wrestling. Like watching. Do you know what I mean? Like juiced up fucking guys.
I'm sure there was a comedian, I forgot who it was, and he said, if like about the Olympics, if you want to take steroids, let them take them. Who doesn't want to see someone run 100 meters in 5 seconds flat?
You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking, let's do it, man. It's fucking crazy.
Bring back steroids. Hashtag.
I mean, this is one of the very, very sort of controversial takes on our show, and yes, bringing back steroids whilst absolutely has its pitfalls, and we don't encourage anyone to
absolutely
these without serious medical advice. Like, it is the other vices. We're almost certain it's the other vices that people would have got into.
Yeah.
Like some of these guys who were massive guys and, they died early, like, for instance, like Hercules and stuff like that, they were party guys too. It wasn't just,
it was the coke, the quaaludes and all that, the fucking, the somas.
GHB and all that shit.
The somas and all that. Yeah.
And in Dan Kine puts it, in Eddie Guerrero's case, it was steroid and painkiller abuse as well as, alcohol and all that, like, and the mixing of these things, which leads to that weird, like, euphoric state, and because Eddie was reaching for that high,
he was an alcoholic, wasn't he, Eddie Guerrero? So alcohol is one of the leading killers in the world.
Oh yeah,
like alcohol is a huge killer, and when you're mixing those very, very strong opiate painkillers with alcohol, that's enough to kill you. Because it's that is very, very dangerous stuff.
But it's those things that would get them higher than high, isn't it? And they would spend forever trying to recapture those weird sort of like euphoric states, and it will eventually finish them off. I mean, I don't know where to go from fucking finishing people off after steroid abuse, but. What a weird place to be. James, we don't want to keep you too long. Our shows do go on quite long, to be fair. Like, where our most recent ones have gone like an hour and 45. So tell us, mate, what is coming up? What have you got in the pipeline? I know you're not going to want to spoil everything, obviously, but you know, drop in something that's something
Yeah,
you've got to look forward to.
no, man, thank you for having me on. So I will be definitely coming back to wrestling YouTube, I guess you could say, Fats Wrestling. So if anyone who's watching who's not aware of it, please head over and subscribe to Fats Wrestling. So basically, lads, when you've been doing it for a while, I don't know if you get better at it, but you kind of recognize like some of the mistakes you make early on. And I'm like, okay, when I first started doing it this way, that was probably not the best way to do it. That's probably a better way to do it. So I'm kind of rebooting the channel and I'm putting the foundations into place. I'm making the connections. I'm trying to build up a strong fan base with our Discord group. So if anyone wants to join that, it's on the community tab on the YouTube channel. Please head to that as well. I'm trying to build up a social media presence. So I'm trying to, at the minute, put the foundations into place. So when the channel does start, I've got, say, some interviews recorded and I've got a good schedule into place. So yeah, so it's coming back. It's gonna be an interview concept. It would be me and one other person. I've got a few people who's agreed to come on already, thankfully. So that, which is great, because it's always a worry, because the other thing is it's kind of scary leaving Cafe De Rene, because I've been comfortable for the 3 years. I was talking to Jonah actually, and Jonah said to me, he says kind of weird. He says kind of like, he said in a different way, it's like you kind of like, you was an indie wrestler who was with WWE for 3 years and now you left, and it's like, what do you do next? I said, yeah, kind of is. Um, it's gonna be harder to get guests, because obviously it was easier to get guests when I was with Renee, because obviously Renee's worked with a lot of wrestlers, and plus the channel was at like 28,000 subs, so it was appealing to guests. So like starting from fresh, and like end of the day, I'm just a nobody. So starting from fresh, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be tough to get guests. Um, so that's exciting at the same time. But yeah, it's I'm hoping to be recording my first video this weekend and perhaps release next Friday. It'll be an introduction video, but I need to get my green screen sorted out, and I'm hoping to have like 2 or 3 interviews next week recorded, and yeah, just go from there. But yeah, if anyone wants to subscribe, please, Fats Wrestling on YouTube and also on social media as well. So but yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully I'll keep you entertained. If not, I'll just go crawling back to Renee and beg him to take me back.
Don't worry. In the description of this show, you will find links to James's show and his social media, so you can't really miss it. And yeah, like what more can we say? Like, we've known James for it must be about 4 years now within the internet world. We bumped into each other in Wales at Clash at the Castle. We've had you on the show before, and we had a fucking cracking time. And this is no different. This has been a great way to hopefully a great way to reintroduce yourself.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I've had a great time.
You've been absolutely, like, you were killing it with Renee for the longest time. Whether or not felt like you were disappointed with your numbers or not is one thing, but seeing your channel, or the channel with Renee, just like it took off.
Yeah.
And whilst there are other channels out there who that are like these big interviews, Chris Van Vliet's and all that stuff, there are those that people will always love to watch and whatever. Your channel was almost like in a way, without sounding, and there's no way sort of like disrespectful, it was almost like the ECW of of a podcast or a show, like, because it was different. It had a very different feel. I understand your point about like larger groups of people, because it can get a little chaotic. It can get a little like people talking over each other and whatnot, but it was it was very much part of the charm. It's just it was wild sometimes, and it was it was great listen and great watch. So we can't. We have to give you your flowers in this situation because you're the guy that made it happen.
No, thank you. And like I said, I loved my time doing the show, and like I said, I'll never bury Renee. Like if Renee does come across what I've said tonight, hopefully he understands. Like I didn't bury him. I just told aspects from the story from my point of view, and it's stuff he probably already knows anyway. But and I've said to him, I was grateful to him for giving me the opportunity to start the show with him. And that he's carrying it on now, which I'm happy for him to do so. And hopefully they continue to be a success. And I loved it. I genuinely loved it. We had some great guests on. I spoke to fucking Kurt Angle, Jake the Snake, Roberts, RVD on. We've had loads of times. We've had some great guests on the show, and I know without Renee, I wouldn't have been able to talk to a lot of these people. So there was that, and just the general friendship with Renee, which was great. But they say all things do come to an end. Did I know on? I think the last interview I'd done with him, what wasn't on Patreon, was discussing the Vince McMahon episode. It was like the day before the Vince McMahon episode documentary came out. Did I know that was going to be my last episode? No, not at all. We was planning to meet up, which I've said to him. I said, I'll be happy to still meet up with you. I said, if you're close by. So hopefully we can meet up still. But yeah, it feels weird not doing it anymore. It really does feel weird. And like I said, in the evenings now, I've just had so much extra time. One of my traditions for October, I watch a horror movie every night in October because it's Halloween month. So I've been able to do that. I've been, it's like, for example, my boys. I've got 3 boys and my wife, and love my boys more than life itself. And it's like now on the even late evenings, I can just chill out and watch movies with them and not worrying about editing any videos or getting ready for a live stream, for example. It's given me so much more free time to do that. And it's like lately now, my eldest, he does taekwondo. So we just done a tournament last weekend in Cardiff, which he done quite well. We got a silver and a bronze. So he's got 2 more tournaments next few weeks. So I've been focusing on their training for the last few days and the upcoming few weeks. So as much as I love doing cafe, which I do, and I appreciate it, it's definitely helped me grow as a podcaster. I appreciate it, but I now realize in hindsight, I'm like, man, you've missed out on some serious sleep. And I think I'm hoping me first video of Fats Wrestling will be dropping next Friday. I'm hoping now with the rest I've had, I'm gonna be refreshed and recharged, and hopefully people can see the best version of me when it comes to podcasting. Was I perhaps coasting towards the end of cafe? Maybe so. Maybe. And I said to I said to Renee, I said, maybe this is the best for everyone. Maybe it's the best for me to have some break. Maybe it's best for you for the future of the channel to have some fresh guys work with you instead. It might work out best for everyone. I have said to him, because he has asked me to come back. I'm not going to lie, and I don't think he would deny it. They have asked me to come back and return, and I said I appreciate the offer, but I said I think I'm going to take some time away. I guess I would like to do an episode in the future just to give a final goodbye, maybe. But no, it was a great time. Loved every minute of it. But all these things eventually come to an end, and you just don't know when. And I guess that time was last Monday. I think it was last Monday. I get the times mixed up. I forgot.
You're going to be more refreshed, and you're going to be bringing out your inner Dave Swagman Studley
Swagman Studley, you know.
So your ring warrior persona is going to be Dave Swagman Studley with the face of Goldberg. So
In the
instead,
body of Rob Terry.
The outrageous bootlegs.
You don't want to be Marky the Void Jobson, with the face of like Jericho. So yeah.
He found these in Poundland and he fucking loves them.
I love him.
But
There's a set
Marky
of like 6
Jobson is one of the greatest wrestling names I think we've ever, apart from meeting Kayfabe herself. Marky Jobson is probably the greatest one we've come across.
Ricky the Mischief Bruin is another one.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, Austin Hellfire Axel. Fucking classics, dude. You can find them in Poundland, but they're hard to find now. I think they're over. They're done.
You've bought more.
Yeah, I got one of each one. Simon the Butcher O'Gunner, and Tim the Tank Donovan is the other one. But I mean, obviously Dave Swagman Studley and Marky the Void Jobson are the best ones.
Yeah, you'll never beat Marky Jobson. There's just, I mean, it should have come with his own catering chair, shouldn't it? It really
100%.
I've just downloaded 2K24, and I'm gonna see if those guys is like on community creations.
Oh, dude. Yes,
you
mate.
never know. You might find Marky Jobson on the community creation.
Marky Jobson. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
the Tangent Wrestling Federation. So
yes,
that's gonna be our promotion. By the way, do you know that? Sorry, before we go, do you know that GM modes? You could. I don't think it's online. I wish they would do a GM mode online, but I think GM mode's actually multiplayer now on the PlayStation.
Wow,
shit!
Didn't know
like
that.
up to 4 players as well.
Nuts.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I haven't played it. I've downloaded it, but I haven't played it yet. So I'm gonna have a look at that. Just pretend I'm. And you actually, it's not just Raw, SmackDown, NXT. You can actually have ECW, WCW as well.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So and you can have like Bischoff as your fucking GM and Heyman and that. So I need to get. That's the thing. I've got free time now. I can actually play some video games.
Yeah, dude. Nice.
That's the good shit, man. Living free for a little while, not
living the dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Living the dream, baby.
We do hope, like you said, we do hope that you and Renee do manage to catch up. We do want to see some sort of selfie with you and Renee, maybe
in Nando's.
Nando's, or maybe having
that was our video.
Yeah.
We was gonna make a video in Nando's. WWE wrestler tries out Nando's. That was gonna be our video. So hopefully, if Renee or Dan's watching, please make that video because it's gonna do well for numbers. Please take my advice for a change.
Yeah, but we hope that you and Renee get to meet up, and who knows? Maybe there's a picture of you putting Renee in a headlock. Why not? Let's be creative with this. Yeah, not something as simple as a wrestler putting you in a headlock. Let's flip the script here. Let's have some fun with it. We do really we appreciate your time, James. For those who haven't subscribed, please subscribe to Chat, Grapple, Cheap Ops, and That's Wrestling, because why wouldn't you at this point? You've got 3 ridiculously handsome chaps talking to you and giving you their
1080.
time. Yeah. Ridiculously handsome British chaps. What more could you ask for? Please subscribe. If you are listening, of course, give us the 5 stars, the Meltzer stars. Fuck it. Give it all. We appreciate each and every one of you. We hope you've enjoyed what we've done today with James, on this World Mental Health Day. So for now, guys, we say thank you very much. We love and appreciate each and every one of you that have joined us in the chat or just been watching. For now, I'm JB. With me, the best Chris in all of wrestling podcast, Mr. Chris Dredd, and James from That's Wrestling. Thank you so much, James, for joining us. Guys,
thank you.
Take care. We will see you next time.
Peace.